this is a printer slicer software. Now on the left there, you can see, and you may be familiar with, is the old 3D print dialog window that pops up when you select the solid make option. And you will probably don't need me to tell you that that particular button up here at the top here, the solid make, is on the toolbar after you've clicked on the utilities option on the top toolbar. And then you're bringing up this here, and you have this output to a 3D print utility down here, which is either custom or, in my case, the Prusa slicer. Now you can't add more than one with this old or pre-packaged print facility. If you want to do another one, you've got to go in and change where the default one you want, and that's a bit of a faff all the time. And as I said before, I used to save in STL. I used to export the Prusa, save in STL, then import that into Chitterbox. It was a bit of a faff. But Anthony's found this other one for us that's shown on the right hand side of the screen, which I'm going to talk you through. When it's installed, under the solid button, you now have two buttons. You've got an original one, as it were, but you've got this nice little one with a plus sign on it, which brings up this dialog box. Now you can see in this dialog box, when you click on your print utility, you have a drop down that shows all the printers, or all the slicers I should say, that you've got installed on your system. The beauty of this is that there really is no setting up. So let's have a look at what we do. It's 3D Print Plus for Fusion. It's a free add-on. It works with the free version of Fusion, and it allows access to more than one printer slicer, and it's available from the Autodesk App Store. And I will put a direct link into the chat box, you know, at the end when I've got a minute to do it. It's a rather long link, but it will take you straight there. That's the screen that you'll be faced with. Now, if you've not signed up to the Autodesk apps, it will ask you to sign up. So if you were to press the download button up here and you've not signed in, it will ask you to sign in or make an account. There's no charge for the account. There's no strings attached to it. You won't get inundated with hundreds of emails. And you see there the options that you have available with this extra facility. The facility you download in the case of Windows, I haven't downloaded the Mac version. I don't run on Mac, but I would imagine it's a similar setup. In Windows, it downloads an MSI file. You run the MSI file, and that will create that directory structure within your app data stroke roaming directory. As you can see, where's my mouse gone? Up here. It will create this directory, and in it, it will create 3 more directories. Now you can ignore the Blender script directory, you can ignore the preferences directory. The only one we're concerned with is the 3D print utilities. When you install it, all you will get is the 3D print utilities .json file. The other 2 are copies that I've made, which I will come on to in a moment as to why that's essential to do. But that's all you're concerned with, is one file. Once you've installed it, you restart Fusion, and when you restart Fusion, you will have the box come up. It will automatically find what slices you've got installed, so there's no configuration at all that you need do. Now, the only one thing you need note is this bottom box here, the last paragraph. The configuration assumes you've installed the slicer programs to their default directories. And I'll show you why. I think it's on the next slide. Well, that's the same slide more or less I just showed you now. So when you, to get up to this folder, you don't have to go looking for it. You just go and open up this box through the make icon, and that's the one where you would choose. If you come down to preferences, you've got open folder. You click on that folder and it will open up this folder for you. And as I said, the only file that we're interested in is that one. Now, the only time you're interested in that is if you have to edit it. Now, the only time you have to edit it, as far as I can see, is if you've loaded your slicer into a non-default directory, or there's another issue, which I will show you now, hopefully on the next slide. The right-hand bit here is 2 screen grabs from that JSON file. The JSON file contains over 100. I gave up counting them. Slicer variants. For Chitterbox, for example, it's got version 1, version 1.1. They're all in there ready for you. Now, the top one is as it came. Now, what I found with the Chitterbox one, it wasn't recognizing it. It wasn't coming up in the drop down. And when I looked at it, I could see that in the configuration that comes, let's put on whoops, wrong one. The default path is C program files //cbd. Little note on the backslash, which you can see over here. Because it's JSON code, if you have a backslash for your path, you have to put a double backslash in. Now, the problem with this particular one, Chitterbox 2.1, when you load it in from the Chitterbox site, it loads to a default path of cbd /chitterbox_basic. And then within that directory is the actual exe file. So what you need to do is edit this file simply by adding in and completing what the true path is. Once you've done that, you just save the file and away you go. Now, you notice when I showed you earlier, I had 2 copies in there. The reason for that is when you update, if you ever update this app and you run the update, it will overwrite your config file with another one. And therefore, any custom settings that you've made like this will be lost. So it's worthwhile keeping a copy of it. And that's it. You know, I'll show you it in Fusion now. Let me just power up Fusion, and we go up to here, and you click on there, and there they are in there. And as I say, you click on that one, and that will take you to that folder. Open up the 3D utilities, and that's the one you edit. So if we were to edit that one, and I use Notepad++, not Notepad, partly because it handles code better. Let's bring that back on so you can see it. So you can see it's there. Now, if I just quickly scroll through, you can see how many slices are covered. There are a load there. Your slicer will be there, I've no doubt. The only issue is whether it's in its default directory. Just while I'm on this, the name there and the version can be what you want. So if you wanted to rename it to something more meaningful to you, one of my jobs I want to do now is have more than one Chitterbox, because I've got different settings in Chitterbox, and you can name them without doing any damage at all. And then you just use that in the normal way. So you can see that is a big improvement over the other one where you just could have one in there. And also it will, I've got this sending out to Blender. So if I'm doing something where I want to then take it into Blender to do more work, I can export to Blender directly without having to save it as an STL, then import the STL, etc., etc. It self-installs, and as I say, all your slicers will show automatically. You have to do nothing. As I say, the only thing you have to do is if you get one that doesn't show, just go and check its actual default path. If you go to the Autodesk site through Fusion, yes, you would go through the Fusion one. But I would suggest you just go straight to the link that I'll post in your web browser, download the file and run it.